In this video, I'm going to be showing you what I think is the best and easiest way to create infographics. And first I wanted to just show you an example of infographics. These have become more and more common and popular in the media. I see them most often on newspaper websites, but you'll also see them, of course, in magazines and other kind of print media, as well as online. So here's one example of an online newspaper, and you can see here, embedded in the article, there is an infographic. So an infographic is basically a graphical way of sharing knowledge, sharing information with the viewer in a way that makes the information appealing and visual. Okay, so you can see oftentimes there are graphs or charts. Very often there are statistics or other bits of data, and the infographics just make it easy to share that information in a way that looks nice. So let's take a look at what I think is the best method for creating your own infographics. If you don't have the maybe the artistic skills and the professional tools that a professional artist would have. One of the best services that you can use for this is called Infogram. You can see the way it's spelled here in the corner, Infogr.am. When you go there and sign up for an account, and once you've logged in, this is what you'll see. You'll basically have three main buttons that you'll use to get around your account in Infogram. And you can see what they are: create, library, and then this one I haven't used myself, but that's another part of the site that you can go to. So I'm going to go ahead and click create, and it takes me to make my first choice about my infographic, and that is the style that I'd like to choose. Now, depending on the kind of account that you have, you may have more or fewer options here on this screen. And some of the options, some of the templates that you might see here might be reserved for those that pay for the pro account. Okay, but it looks like I have access to all of these, and I can just select one that looks nice. And basically all I'm choosing here at this point is the color scheme and the font type and that kind of thing. The information will all be customizable. The graphics will be customizable. I'm going to go with this look right here, and so I'll just click use design, and it gets me into my infographic. And by default, your infographics come with a title, a quote. They come with a chart, and that's about it. But notice here on the right there are some buttons that you can use to edit and adapt your infographic. So first thing I want to do is go in and edit the title of my infographic. As you can see here, it just says double click to add a title. So I'll just double click. Okay, so I've got a title, and now I can move on to enter a quote. Now you may or may not want to have a quote here. If you don't want it, you can just X out and it will disappear. But I am going to put a quote in there, so I'll just double click. Okay, so I've got my title and I have a quote. And again, if you don't want the quote, simply click the X, it will disappear. Next, I have a chart, and it has some just generic statistical data that comes, every time you use Infogram, this is what you see in the chart. But I can double click to edit the chart, and it brings up something that looks suspiciously like Microsoft Excel. And the good thing about that is if you're familiar with Excel, you'll feel pretty comfortable with editing this. And you could go in and map out the data that you want to share in your chart. You can just simply click and change the data that's here to make it match the data that you want to share. Now notice that there are some options here. You can smooth the curves. So if you look to the right here, if you look at the chart as it is right now, each of these points, there's a little jagged corner to it. But if you choose smooth curves, it smooths that out and makes it look smoother. The data points are the little circles that you see here. If you want to get rid of those data points, you can do that, okay, by turning off the data points. And if you need to, you can also reverse the axis, okay, for your chart. Now, this is the default chart that comes with your Infogram, okay. If you don't want that one, but you would prefer a different chart, all you have to do is, just like I said about the quote, all you have to do is click the X and it removes the chart. To add in a chart, you would just go here to the right side of the page. This is where we have our items that we can add to the Infogram. And you just click and it brings up just a whole host of different charts that you can add to your Infographic. There's so much more that you can add onto an infographic. You can add maps. I'll just go ahead and click Add a Map, and a map is added. I can double click to edit the map, and you can see that these maps are intended as kind of a statistical map, and you can go ahead and edit all this information just like I showed with the data of the chart. In addition to maps, you can also add text. If I click on text, it gives me headline text, chart text, quotes, body text, facts and figures text, and then also timers. And you're already familiar with headline and quotes and that kind of thing. So I'm going to focus on timer. I'm going to click on that and add in a timer. And with the timer, this is basically a countdown timer. So I'm going to double click to edit the chart. And let's say I would like to count down the days, the months, the hours, the seconds until New Year's Day. All I would need to do is go in and change this information. So 2015, the first month, the first day. Click done. It will refresh, and you'll see that there are now 11 months, 3 days, 6 hours, 47 minutes, 52 seconds until New Year's Day. So that's kind of fun. Teachers, of course, you could do a countdown to the last day of school. You could do a countdown to an important field trip or whatever it is that you want to do a countdown for. So that's in the text options. It's one of the many different types of text you can add to your infographic. You can add pictures. When you click on Add a Picture, it takes you to your computer and you can browse around and add a picture that way. You can also add videos, and notice it wants either a Vimeo or YouTube address, and you can just paste that address in and it will pull the video in to your infographic. Okay, when you're done with your infographic, there are some things that you can do to share it. Notice that if you pay for a pro account, you can download a copy of your infographic to your computer. But even if you aren't willing to pay, you can click share. It'll kind of force you to type in a title if you haven't already done so, a description, and then you can click publish. Now, once you click publish, notice that it gives you easy ways to post it to Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, and also it gives you the ability to embed your infographic on another website. So I can highlight this text, copy it, and then go and paste it onto my classroom website or any website that I have the ability to edit that accepts embed codes. Unfortunately, Google Sites does not do well with embed codes, but Weebly, Tumblr, MyUEN, Blogger, on and on. There are so many different websites that allow you to embed items onto them. Now, this code that I selected is for a fixed infographic, one that just is static. But if I want it to be responsive, I can get this other code and then paste it onto whatever website builder I use. So I see lots of potential benefits in education of using infographics, both from a teacher's point of view and also from the student's point of view. As a teacher, I look forward to using these as a way to teach concepts to my students in a simple way that's very graphic, very visual, and also I look forward to having my students create infographics to demonstrate that they understand a concept and have learned, information. And of course, this will help them to get used to sharing that information in a way that's easily understandable. So thanks for watching, and have fun with Infogram making your wonderful infographics.